for Bob.
Bill, of Onder. Well, thank you, Bill. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Nick. Well, I really, as I come to the end of my term in the Senate, you think back. It's always a good idea to think back to the beginning, how it all started. And I remember, like it was yesterday. This was 2013. How many of y'all know Bev Allen?
Who doesn't know
Bev Allen called me. It was in the spring of 2013, and she said, Bob, I'm not happy with the choices for state senate. I think we need you to run. In fact, you're going to run. And I said, no, I'm not, Bev. Alice and I have talked about this, and we were raising our 6 children. We're paying college tuition bills. I've got a medical practice to run. I've got some other businesses. I don't have time. I'm not doing it. And she just ended the conversation. Okay, I'm going to pray for you, and then we'll get your campaign going. You're going to. I've never forgiven Bev Allen. But when I saw that, I talked to Allison. I thought, Bev has a point. Our other choices aren't really acceptable. You know who I called? This guy right here.
Joe.
I said, Joe, you ran for state senate once before. It's your turn. I'm going to support you.
Oh yeah.
And he said, Bob, no, not no, heck no. But I'll support you and I'll endorse you and I'll give you a fundraising fund. And you know the rest of the story there. And then I've been shortly sworn into the Senate, and I remember doing an event in conjunction with Americans for Prosperity. My good friend Carl Bearden sponsored that event. And I think like 2 people showed up to it. There was even a balloon, a helium balloon. I guess the Koch brothers had a lot of money. So, but one of those 2 people who showed up was Bill Eigel.
That was during Game 6 of the World Series.
I think it was. We were competing with Game 6 of the World Series. But Bill came and he had these ideas. Well, what we need to do, we need more money for roads and rebuild 70. All we have to do is this, and there are existing revenue streams, and and then we could cut taxes at the same time because there's so much revenue growth and so on and so on. And yeah, those are all good ideas. Anyway, in short, not fast forward another year or so, and I was endorsing Bill Eigel for Missouri Senate. Yes, so we pass on the torch. As I come to the end of 8 years in the Missouri Senate, there's a lot of things you could say for or against term limits. There's Bev. No, I'm not forgetting. I asked myself a couple things. When I leave, will the seat be in good hands? Will you have someone fighting as hard as I fought during the 8 years that I represented you in Jefferson City? And I'm happy to say, with folks like Nick Shore running, I think you will be in excellent hands.
Yeah.
Nick, and he will be the next senator from the 2nd Senatorial District.
Yeah. The great
founder of the Congressional Freedom Caucus, Jim Jordan, along with Mark Meadows, future president, chief of staff. He recently wrote a book entitled "Do What You Said You Were Going to Do." And I'll tell you, there are a lot of folks in Jeff City, some who love me, and more perhaps who hate me and hate this guy right here. But one thing none of them will say is that Bob Onder didn't do what he said he was going to do. And what were those things that I and Nick and Bill, and for that matter other Republicans, said they were going to do when they ran in their election? We said we were going to stand for lower taxes, less regulation, less government.
Nice.
I have to say, my good friend Bill Eigel and our good friend Senator Andrew Koenig, they have led the Conservative Caucus's efforts to fight tax increases and to cut taxes. We have cut the individual income tax rate. We have cut the corporate income tax rate. We have cut the small business tax rate. And if Bill and I have our way this session, we will completely eliminate the personal property tax. We fought regulation. We fought over regulation. And we fight it in 101 different ways, because over 1,000 bills get passed in filed in the Missouri General Assembly every year. And I have to say, many of them would increase regulation, increase the intrusiveness of government on your homes, your families, your small businesses. We fight those every day. But let me give you one example where we had a big victory in the opposite way. Remember when we couldn't get Uber or Lyft rides here in St. Charles County? I passed the bill that deregulated so-called ride-sharing companies that allowed those companies to operate statewide. Now you might think, well, that's obvious. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? You know how many special interests, the cities, taxi cab companies lined up against us, but we got that done too. Ever hear a Republican say that they're going to go to Jeff City or Washington and try to protect innocent human lives? Yeah, they all say that, don't they?
Everyone.
But I, Nick, Senator Eigel, we passed the two most important pro-life bills in Missouri history. Remember in 2017? Remember in 2017 where the Brain Trust and Board of Aldermen in the city of St. Louis filed the abortion sanctuary city bill that passed it? They wanted to drive pregnancy care centers like Thrive and Birthright and Our Lady's Inn out of business. And they were going to do it. At the same time, some federal judge in Kansas City struck down all our health and safety regulations pertaining to abortion. Fortunately, our governor that year called us into special session, and we passed a bill to protect pregnancy care centers, to restore common sense health and safety regulations. And because we passed that bill, Planned Parenthood had plans for 4 more abortion clinics. They canceled those plans. And you might think, well, that's easy, aren't you have a supermajority of Republicans, they're all pro-life, that was really easy, wasn't it? We had to fight Senate leadership every step of the way as they sought to gut that bill so that it would do absolutely nothing. There were literally Planned Parenthood lobbyists in the majority leader's office, and they refused to talk to pro-lifers.
Unreal.
Like Senator Eigel and me. That was 2017. Fast forward 2019. Anyone here know who the sponsor of the heartbeat bill was?
Nick.
He's right here in the corner. And the ultimate product ended up being written over in the Senate Health and Pensions Committee, my committee. We wrote that bill, the heartbeat bill, trigger bill, when Roe versus Wade is not when, but when Roe is overturned, that we can protect every innocent human life in the state of Missouri. That would have been easy, right? Supermajority Republicans. We had to fight every step of the way. In fact, Senator Eigel and I had to lead a 32-hour filibuster in order to leverage something else in order to get that done. That is how much we have to fight against these moderate Republicans sometimes. Second Amendment, constitutional carry, stand your ground. Second Amendment Protection Act equally fights against the establishment swamp in Jefferson City in order to get things done. And of course, COVID tyranny. Armies of lobbyists arrayed against us to keep us from doing anything to rein in these out-of-control health departments. But we fought, we got it done. So I come to the end of 8 years in the Missouri Senate. I was thinking, this is great. I get to retire from politics. This is awesome. This is awesome. Alice and I will buy a farm. I'll spend more time with the family, pay off the last of those college tuition bills, and I'll be done. Continue to practice medicine. I think half the people here see me in my allergy practice. This will be great. And then COVID. I never pictured myself running for county or county government office. I think a lot of us, we watch Fox News, we read various news outlets. We're engaged in national or state level politics. We don't realize how much local government affects our lives. And then COVID hit. And what I realized as COVID hit, and as I tried to what word am I looking for? Talk some sense into County Executive Ailman, who I have come to call Shutdown Steve. I realized that he accepted a lot of the woke, left-wing, NIH, CDC, Dr. Fauci, Deborah Birx, prescriptions for how to deal with that respiratory viral pandemic. And I was amazed at the arrogance and the condescension. I would look, Steve, I've known you for a long time. With all due respect, this is what I do. I am a respiratory specialist. I'm a board-certified immunologist. I've been involved over the years in the pharmaceutical industry and research and science. I also have a law degree, so I understand the legal aspects of all this stuff. None of these things that the left are telling us we need to do in response to COVID make any sense. Make any sense. Yeah. Let me show you the map. Yeah. Let me talk to you about whether masks work or not. Let's talk about shutdowns and whether needlessly, almost sadistically depriving our kids of 350,000 days of school. Yeah. Let's talk about whether that makes any sense.
Show us the proof.
Let's show us the proof that sending the county police to hair salons or wineries or restaurants and bars to count number of people there, while you let as many people as you want go into Walmart. Show me how that makes sense. Show me how there's science. Show me how somehow bars and restaurants after 10 p.m. are super spreaders for COVID. At 8 or 9, they up there. And I basically like the guy. He's been in those offices for 35 years, which I think is way the heck too long.
Yes.
But there was that arrogance of power. I know best. I occupy this position. Who are you to tell me what to do? And when any public official develops that attitude, it's time. They've been in office too long. That arrogance of power. Lord Acton said power tends to corrupt, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I think executive positions, probably much more so than legislative positions, tend to have that effect on people if you don't have the right folks behind them holding them accountable. And I also fear that too many times Mr. Ailman's shutdown Steve has surrounded himself by folks from the Democrats from the Jeff City swamp who run the county. Well, so I started seeing how shutdown Steve was dealing with COVID, and I said, and honestly, Mr. Brazel was telling me some of this for a long time, and I started to listen. Shutdown Steve has never seen a tax increase identified. He's supported property tax increases, he supported sales tax increases, he supported internet sales increases, and he supported the largest tax increase in Missouri history, the gas tax that's now helping inflict more pain at the pump than you'd otherwise be experiencing. But you know what else he supported? This I just learned recently. Anyone here old enough to remember Senate Bill 380, Mel Carnahan, largest tax increase in Missouri history? Anyone remember that? Yeah. So Senate Bill 380 was the largest tax increase in Missouri history. It increased income taxes, it increased property taxes, real estate taxes, but it also imposed upon Missouri so-called education standards. Anyone remember outcome-based education?
Oh my gosh.
So OBE was the predecessor to Common Core.
Oh my gosh.
And honestly, Common Core was the predecessor to critical race theory.
Yes, sir.
Because once the left realized that they could use our curriculum, our kids' curriculum, to further their political goals, they were all in.
Yep.
And most Republicans, by and large, opposed those efforts. But when Steve was in the legislature, you know what he did? He voted again for it before he voted against it. Is that an AR? So when it really mattered in committee, he voted for Senate Bill 380, and then out on the floor, where the votes people track a little more closely, he voted against it. That was just emblematic of what we've seen. Anyone here in favor of corrupting our elections by taking money from Mark Zuckerberg? His far-left political operation that gave money to county election authorities to turn out votes where he wanted to turn them out, to change the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. Anyone for that?
Mike Parson put him in Kansas City.
Shutdown Steve Ailman took Zuckerberg.
Yeah, I did.
He took Zuckerberg. As Joe mentioned to you, anyone here want to impose anything with the word international in it in St. Charles County? Steve Ailman pushed the International Building Code.
Get rid of it.
Bye-bye, Steve.
We will get rid of a lot of it.
Select our job.
But you gotta have more people.
Anyone here want the law enforcement, the people who have the authority to pull you over, to show you to their bag, to put you in handcuffs, to arrest you? Anyone here want those authorities to be accountable to the people?
Yeah.
Not Steve. He wanted to consolidate the power of law enforcement under himself. And again, our present police chief is great, and our men and women of law enforcement in St. Charles County are terrific. But Steve had to consolidate the power of law enforcement under himself, really under his kind of Democrat woke assistant, actually, and proceeded to mismanage the police department. He took an individual known to be a serial, I'll just put this nicely, harasser of women, and he appointed that person and drew numerous lawsuits for the county. And then when one of the young women who filed a lawsuit, multiple lawsuits, one of them he retaliated by placing an ethics complaint, a bar ethics complaint against this poor woman, trying to deprive her of her law license. He covered it up. There is a comprehensive report of what went on in the police department under Ailman's hand-chosen police chief. It was commissioned to be done by a law firm, so he could hide behind attorney-client privilege and not be honest with the public as to what all went on. Now, some people used the word. I was at Lincoln Days last night. There were some people who came up to me and said, Senator, I just want to let you know I support you. You're great, but I don't like the fact that folks sometimes use the phrase Rhino, Republican in name only. I think that's divisive. Ronald Reagan's a 11th commandment: don't speak ill of a fellow Republican. Those who cite that very frequently forget the things that Ronald Reagan said about Gerald Ford and George Herbert Walker Bush. But I'll say, look, I believe in Reagan's 11th commandment when Republicans are really acting like Republicans.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
But I would ask you this, whether you like the term rhino or you don't, I would ask you, if we had a Democrat county executive right now here in St. Charles County, how would that Democrat be doing anything different than what Shutdown Steve has been doing the past 16 years?
Right on. Anything different. Yeah.
I think a Democrat would also be putting your kids' vaccine data in a government database. He'd be putting your prescription data in a government database. And on and on. So, why am I running? I'm running because I love this county. We are blessed to live in the greatest country on the face of the earth. And we are blessed to live in the greatest county in this country.
Yes.
Allison and I chose to, here's my beautiful wife, Allison.
Hey, Allison!
And my son, Peter, who I think was 6'4" when I last checked. And my son, Bobby, who's 6'5" last I checked. Bobby's on the other side. We chose to raise our family here because this is a great place.
Yes, sir.
It's a great place to worship and to raise your kids and to work and to start a business.
Yep.
But we need leadership worthy of the greatness of this county. We need to make Missouri great again. We need to make America great again. But we need to keep St. Charles County great.
Yeah.
Because many of the things that Bill and Joe have said about St. Charles County could have been said about St. Louis County years ago. But without leadership, we could lose it all.
Yep.
To just be another appendage ruled by another Sam Page. Oh, we already are. So we need to take the principles that you've heard, Representative Shore, Senator Eigel, and me today, the things we've done in Jeff City, the leadership we've shown in Jeff City, we need that in county government here in St. Charles County, and that's why I'm running for county executive. I need your help, though. I need you to spread the word, especially on the eastern side of the county, St. Charles, St. Peters, where people know me less well. I know Senator Eigel will be helping me there. Need your financial support. Need people to work on at the April election. As folks leave and vote for good school board candidates, they need to know. Who they're going to vote for. Thank you all for sharing your time on this beautiful Saturday morning. There are many things you could be doing here. It just warms my heart. I am so grateful that you're all here for me and to make our county the great county that it is meant by God to be. God bless you all.